Hello, I'm Andy McSherry. I'm one of the department managers here at Jas P Wilson. Today we're going to do an installation guide on the Posch S-376 Firewood processor. So for the purpose of this video, we'll be using a PTO 400 volt machine. If your machine is PTO only, the key points will be covered as well. So for a 400 volt hookup, when you're supplied the machine, you will be supplied with a female 3-phase plug. So once that is installed, it's a case of plug the machine in. Once that's plugged in, basically the machine becomes live. So if you've got a PTO only machine, or even just running your PTO electric machine on PTO, the cover to the side, you'll be supplied a brand new PTO shaft, put it on the gearbox here. Also on PTO, you need to have a 12 volt supply to the machine. This machine is tractor mountable. It's got a 3-point linkage, got the 3 points there. The machine weighs around 2 tons. If you're running it on PTO, the RPM of the PTO needs to be at 480. So the power requirements for this machine: on mains electricity, the 400 volts, 3-phase 5-pin, and if it running on a generator, then it would require at least 45 kVA. PTO version would be minimum of 50 horsepower. So now that we have a power source to the machine, we'll run through the operations of the controls. So you've got your main joystick here. You move it to the right, that would bring your infeed table to the right, bring your timber in towards the saw. Go to the left, that would then retract your infeed. You can pull your saw towards you, the joystick towards you, and that would pull the saw blade out to cut your piece of timber. To engage the splitter, you push the joystick forward and release it. The splitter will go through its cycle and return back to its home position. Also on the joystick, there's a button on the back. If you hold the button in and work the joystick right and left, that then lifts and lowers the infeed table if you've got the roller option. This control here, that is for your output elevator. It has a detent position. Pull it back towards you, it locks in, so your output elevator belt is continuously rotating. You push it away from you, then the belt will come back down towards you. This function is for if you have a log deck. So you have the 3 chain strands, so you can bring them towards you or push it away from you. This control here, this one is for your slew and output conveyor. So you can pivot it left to right. This function is for your splitting knife up and down. You have on the machine, if it is PTO or PTO electric, it will come with these buttons. On electric, this is how you'd start the motor of the machine. If you're on PTO and you press the green button, this is how you'd start your electrics. Red is obviously stop then. You've got a twist toggle here. That is for your splitter half-stroke cycle. So when in the left-hand position, your splitter will come out halfway and then retract. And you also have an emergency stop button. And it has got a phone holder on the instrument panel and also a USB port to allow you to charge your phone as well. So on this display, we've got the RPM readout. You've got your tractor set to 480 RPM, which on the screen should display around about 1500 RPM, and the same goes for on the electric motor. It will come up with around about 1500 RPM. If you're running the tractor on PTO and the light between the 2 buttons is flashing slowly, that represents that the PTO speed is too low, so it should be increased. If the light between the 2 buttons is flashing fast, then the PTO speed is too high, so it should be lowered. When the machine is at the correct speed, the white LED between the buttons will be solid. So we'll go through the different displays on this. You twist the outer area of the screen. First of all, it comes up with the daily hour count of the machine, which can be reset. Twist it again, then we go to total machine hours. So this cannot be zeroed, this will always remain. On to the next one, we have the hydraulic oil temperature. On to the next one, this is the splitting pressure. Obviously it's at 0 bar just now because the machine is turned off. On this display, we can delay the saw advancing. On this one, we have different species of timber which have different RPM settings for the saw control, which can be adjusted by the operator also. And we have a settings menu as well. So if you want to make any adjustments on the screen, you push the joystick away from you and hold it forward. Swipe down on the screen turns grey, and you twist the outer area of the screen. Then once you have the setting you require, swipe back up and that logs it. Now that we've covered the power requirements for the machine, we've also looked into the basic controls of the machine. So now we're going to move on to unfold the machine into the operating position. So firstly, we're going to open out the output elevator of the machine. To start by pulling the R pin out, hold the bracket upright and turn the winch handle anti-clockwise. There's a gas strut fitted to the conveyor just to assist with the outer section. Once the weight is off of the winch cable, then the chains will then support the output conveyor. Next we want to support the outer section just by lift up the clip behind the handle, fold over and latch into place. You may want to change the angle of the output conveyor. So now that the conveyor is latched together, we can turn the winch handle clockwise to raise the conveyor. Once at the set height, you can lock off your chains. Just making sure both are set evenly. Then we will lower the winch back down so that the chains of the conveyor is taking the weight. Never work with the machine, never work with the winch cable taking the weight of the output elevator. So to get the infeed into operating position, what we did is we started the machine, we let the machine run up to speed. Once the white LED went solid, the machine was then in operating function. We pushed the joystick, the button on the back of the joystick to the left, which then lowered the infeed table. So now that the machine is set up in the operating position, now we're going to set the wood stop for the length of timber to be cut. So you open the safety cover. So this ranges from 20 centimetres to 50 centimetres. At the minute it's set on 20 centimetres. We're going to change this to 25 centimetres. So all you do, finger through the catch, pull it, slide the bracket tray up, and it locks into position and it's now fixed. So now that the machine is nearly ready for processing, we need to now fit the relevant knife depending on your timber diameter. The machine comes as standard with a 2 and a 4-way knife and a 6-way knife. There's also an optional extra 8-way knife. So we've got a spare knife holder here. So prior to changing your splitting knife, you need to push in the pin, pull it out, release that, and then your knife pivots out the way, allowing free movement of the winch handle. So now we're going to demonstrate using the winch for changing the splitting knife. So firstly, open the safety cover, unlatch the winch cable, and latch it onto the splitting knife. Taking a little bit of the weight, remove the winch pin, pull out the pin, then we can start to winch the knife out. Once the wire rope gets to the top of here, the whole bracketry will start to raise. Now that the knife's free from the machine, then physically push the splitting knife round away from you, then lower to the ground, and then reverse the procedure for fitting your correct splitting knife. So if the user wanted to cut rounds for an auto split kindling machine, then if you follow the procedure for removing the splitting knife, then it's just place the infill plate into the splitting trough, which then fills the gap to allow the rounds to fall into the output elevator. Also, as well as an optional extra, we have a sandwich plate here that goes in between the wood stop bracket and wood stop plate to get your optimum size for cutting your kindling rounds. So here we've got a collection of the optional extras for this machine. So we've got a hydraulic oil cooler, we've got an 8-way splitting knife, and also a kindling spacer plate. So we're just going to quickly cover some safety features on the machine. We've got an emergency stop button. When that's pressed, it says secure mode open. Twist it to release it. You've got the safety cover on the front. When that is lifted, the machine will still run, the blade will still be rotating, but no hydraulic functions are operational until the safety door is closed again. So now we've covered the power requirements, the controls of the machine. We've got the output elevator unfolded, we've got the infeed conveyor in position. We've got the correct splitting knife in the machine for the timber we're processing, and also we've set the wood stop plate to the correct length. So now we're ready to get some processing. So now we're going to open up the back of the machine to show some maintenance points. To allow us to do that, the electric motor must be off or the PTO disconnected, but still with a 12-volt supply. Basically just push in an emergency stop button. That releases the catch from the door. So now that we've pressed the red emergency stop button, we've got a green light in the back cover, so it allows us to lift the panel up. So the beauty of this machine is that we can lift the whole back of the panel of the machine up and access all the maintenance points, and it'll even allow us to blow down the machine at the end of a shift. So if we start at the right hand side here, we've got easy access for changing the drive belts. It would be the case of slackening off the grub screw on this coupling, move it to the right, and then follow the procedure in the operator's manual of lowering the saw bed to change the belts. Also in here we've got remote grease bank, easy access to them as well. On the saw shaft bearings we've got 2 grease nipples, same again, easy access. We've got a 900mm tungsten tip circular saw blade. With the panel lifted, we can easily replace that when it goes away for sharpening. And with the machine, we've got the 2 spanners required for changing the blade. So as standard on these machines, we have hydraulic couplings fitted for an auxiliary log deck. So going from left to right, we have the red coupling and the green one, which is for your cross conveyor of your log deck, and the yellow and blue we have for the 3 strands on your log table. When you're using a cross conveyor, this tap needs to be turned to the open position to allow the oil to flow to the external in-feed motor. So part of your daily checks on the machine, you've got your hydraulic oil level. In the centre of the sight glass, you've got a red dot, which is for your level. If it does require topping up, then just remove the filler point, put in your oil and replace the cap. When it comes to replacing the hydraulic oil filter, it's a case of remove these two bolts, take the panel off, which allows you full access to the filter housing. So hopefully we've covered everything within that. If there is any additional questions you have, then don't hesitate to give Jas P Wilson a call and ask for the service department regarding your Posch Firewood processor. Thank you.